Today, we will recap the first week, aka the opening round of the AFL. I will give you guys my thoughts, and we will also go over tipping. So with that being said, let's get right into it. As y'all know, this was my first week watching the AFL, and this is my first opportunity, me being able to watch a game live. And if you want to watch the games live with me and get my live reactions, twitch.com/Paco Luciano, or you can come to the YouTube live watch parties. I love the AFL. Oh my God, the intensity, the speed, the endurance, the strength, the IQ, the ability to fucking substitute on the fly, on the roll. This is an all in all a beautiful game. I do not know how. I am 26 years old and I barely found out about the AFL this year. This is crazy. The entire world is disrespecting this sport. The way that them players was playing, the way that I was able to see everybody's talent, and watch even more phenomenal players that I haven't been able to watch or didn't learn about until those games. Shout out to Ed Richards, for example. He fucking played out of his mind. So with that being said, let's just get right into opening round. You know, we're going to talk about the games, and then let's also talk about tipping. So when you look at here, okay, 121,000. You feel me? 199 overall rank. I had 3 correct tips. I picked Sydney over Carlton, correct. Gold Coast over Geelong, correct. I had GWS at tipped. I had GWS tipped. I switched it to Hawthorn because the GWS Giant fans were telling me that they had injuries and that it was going to mess up the team and that they weren't going to probably play as well as they played because of the injuries. But bro, did they lie to me? Western Bulldogs. I had Western Bulldogs tipped for the upset. I don't know. Something about the Western Bulldogs just told me that they were going to win this game. Maybe it was because of after watching episode 1, after watching Bont, you know, in the Final Sovereign documentary on Amazon Prime Video. And then also, too, watching Sam Darcy in the State of Origin, watching Marcus Bontempelli in the State of Origin. I just like the Western Bulldogs. I think the Western Bulldogs can possibly be a top 6 team this year. So shout out to the Western Bulldogs. Not like I said, I just think the Brissy Lions, championship hangover. That's it. You know, they just got championship hangover. They're tired. And one thing I also think is going to happen to the Brissy Lions throughout this season, depending on how they can handle it, because Hugh McCluggage was already renowned with an injury. That was a big deal. So I think that's going to be the Brissy Lions' biggest hurdle this year. How healthy can they stay? And how well can they play, you know, without their premier players, without some of their starting guys. So shout out to the Brisbane Lions, shout out to the Western Bulldogs, and that is definitely the game of the round, and that is definitely early contender for game of the year. And then when we get to St. Kilda and fucking Collingwood, as your new renowned St. Kilda fan, I love St. Kilda, bro. I just love everything about the history, and everything that they do when they include their Aboriginal players and the Indigenous people and the things that they weigh and the way that they show love to the Indigenous players and the Aboriginal people and things like that. And with that being said, shout out to Nicky Winmar. He's fucking goated. But yeah, man, St. Kilda, bro. They did really fucking phenomenal. I think us as St. Kilda, we did so well. Only problem is, we got the ball inside 50. We're just a young team and we're not used to pressure. Because there were a lot of opportunities where we had the ball, we had a couple of great marks, and we just weren't quick enough to see the open man and just mark it down and get an easier goal. Or the times that we did have shots on goal, we just missed them and we shanked a lot of kicks. You know what I mean? We went into the third quarter down, not the third. We went into the fourth quarter, I want to say, down by 18 points, down by 3 goals. Maybe just a little bit more than that, and we could have potentially came back and won the game. Like I said, young guys just not used to pressure. We marked the ball inside 50 plenty of times. We just weren't efficient. Probably less than 20% efficient on scoring as much as fucking times as we got the ball inside 50. Geelong, my dumbass. Collingwood, you can tell their experience really played a part. So when they come to these good close games, these big games, their IQ, their experience, the hundreds and thousands of games that they have played under their belt is going to really show and shine. So I'm not even really mad about Collingwood. I'm not really upset about Collingwood winning. I'm not really mad about my St. Kilda boys. This is a big change for us. We spent a lot of money in the offseason. This is a new team. It's going to take time for them to gel together. Only thing that I'm telling everybody now is next year, be on the lookout for St. Kilda. Be on the lookout for St. Kilda. Now, with that being said, let's get right into this tipping right here. We're going to tip for round 1. Everybody is taking Carlton over Richmond. I like that. Richmond is just young. and I really like how Carlton plays. I really haven't seen too much of Richmond highlights in the preseason simulated matches and things like that, and I don't really know too much about their young guns, which I probably should learn because everybody say that they have the best young list for the future after like the next 5 years. So I definitely got to check out some Richmond, but I'm gonna take Carlton. I guess that's an easy pick, and you only get a margin for the first round. So I think Carlton, because they shit the bed in the second half, I think it's gonna be closer than people think, and I think it's gonna be a 24 pick margin. Essendon and Hawthorn. I'm just gonna take Hawthorn. I think they're gonna beat Essendon. Like I said, I don't really know too much about the Bombers. Don't know too much about their young talent, but from everything that I do know and the knowledge that I have gained, they are trash. Hawthorn is gonna go ahead and they're gonna win this game, and they're gonna go 1-1. They're not gonna lose 2 games in a row. Western Bulldogs versus GWS Giants. 2 teams coming off of dubs. The Western Bulldogs are at home, and the way that the Western Bulldogs played, and they just beat the Brissy Lions. So I want to tip the Western Bulldogs, but the way that the GWS Giants just played, and they didn't have all their stars, I'm going with the Giants. Okay, and then especially if the GWS Giants stars does return, and if they play with the same level of intensity and speed that they did, I think GWS will beat the Western Bulldogs. Not by a lot. Maybe this game probably might be also decided by 5 to 12 points. But I'm definitely going to take the GWS Giants over the Western Bulldogs this game. And then Fremantle and Geelong Cats. I don't think the Geelong Cats lose 2 in a row. But this is Fremantle's first game, and does Fremantle want to lose their first game? I think not. This game is going to be a really close game, very high in intensity. But I think the Geelong Cats are warmed up. They play the game. They know what they need to do. They know what they need to work on. They know what they need to fix. So I'm just going to take the Geelong Cats. And then with Jezza Cameron and them coming back, we're going to see what Geelong does. But if Paddy Dangerfield doesn't play because he's nerfing that calf injury, and if all that they have is Jezza, then I think I'm going to take Fremantle to win. But Geelong is at home, and they don't lose at home, much from what I'm told. Fuck it. We're going to take Geelong, bro. When in doubt, take the home team. The Sydney Swans versus the Brisbane Lions. I think this is going to be a really good game. The Sydney Swans came off a win. They had a really slow start, but I think that they know what to do now, and I think they know how they want to play and how they want to move upfield and score quickly and be high power, very high power scoring. And then the Brisbane Lions, they don't have a human Cluggage and things like that. He probably might return. We gotta wait for some more reports, but I'm gonna take the Sydney Swans, and they're at home. Collingwood versus the Crows. I'm gonna take Collingwood. I don't know too much about the Crows. Everybody was telling me that the Crows had a fluke year, that they had one of the easiest fixtures last year, and that a lot of teams were injured that they played against as well. So I think the Crows are going to fall off, and I'm going to take Collingwood. North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, by far. I don't even really got to say too much. North Melbourne, trash. So we're going to take Port Adelaide. And then St. Kilda versus the Melbourne D's. The Melbourne D's are at home, but I'm a St. Kilda fan, so I'm rocking with St. Kilda. And no biases aside, I think our team is really talented. I think the way that we competed with Collingwood was very phenomenal, very great. I think Messiah is going to put up an astonishing, great performance. He has to get used to being tagged. He has to get used to being doubled and triple teamed. He has to get used to being the guy that teams are now just going to prepare for. Constantly having him on with the tagger or two. Constantly having 2 to 3 people surrounding him in a zone at all times. So this is going to be a really great game. I really can't watch this game because my boy Kazi Pickett is playing. As y'all know, Kazi Pickett is my favorite player in the AFL. He's one of my favorite players ever, bro. I love watching Kazi, so I will be rooting for Kazi. They have Latrell Pickett as well. They still have Ghani. They got Jack Steele from St. Kilda. So this is like a Jack Steele revenge game, kind of. So we're going to see. We're going to see what Melbourne D's and St. Kilda does, but I think St. Kilda balls out, and I think we beat Melbourne D's by 30. And as we get here to the Gold Coast Suns and the West Coast Eagles, I think everybody in the world should take the Gold Coast Suns. I don't know who in the hell would take the West Coast Eagles. I don't know who in the hell would take the West Coast Eagles, but that is crazy, okay? I don't know who the hell would take the West Coast Eagles over the Gold Coast Suns after especially what we just seen Christian Petrarca, Mark Andrews, and all those guys do, bro. Like, shout out to the Gold Coast Suns. I'm taking the Gold Coast Suns. And those are my rounds for tipping. Those are my reasons for tipping. I would love to see what you guys have for tipping. Love to see you guys' thoughts and things like that. So with that being said, Paco out.